Okay, uh, let's get started. Welcome to another session of Megaport live tech dropping. Good morning and good afternoon, depends on where you come from. And welcome. Um, this is a pretty much a weekly session, and we talk about Megaport product and the solution, and also do some demos if you are interested. And please feel free to drop in any questions in the chat, and hopefully we can get all of them answered. Um, let's just start about a self-introduction. My name is Morgan Wang, and I'm a solution architect here in Megaport. I'm based in Melbourne, but I'm supporting customers from Victoria, Tasmania, and New Zealand as well. Here are my contact details. Please feel free to drop me an email or connect me on LinkedIn if you are interested in any Megaport solution or product, or you just want to have a chat about anything Megaport related. Let's get into some um, 101 probably introduction of Megaport. Megaport is one of the largest, or maybe just the largest cloud-based software-defined network provider globally. And at the moment, we are in 930 plus data centers globally. And we are actually connected to over 280 cloud on-ramps as well. And with Megaport Global Infrastructure or Fabric, customer can actually interconnect their data centers to any of the destinations, for example, public cloud provider or any partner or customer already connected to Megaport. And that's all physical can be delivered to customer data center where we exist. Otherwise, customer can actually keep everything within the cloud as well with our other access services like Megaport Cloud Router and the Megaport Virtual Edge. And we actually also enabled some product and features to allow this like a predominantly uh, previously only data center and cloud connectivities leading to customers' branch locations and head offices by last mile fiber access from our data center footprint into your head office, or otherwise build a SD-WAN edge device that customer can actually get into connect to Megaport Fabric through SD-WAN overlay. If you need any more details about how to make that kind of a connection, feel free to reach out and we can provide more details around different options. And then coming to a brief introduction of Megaport products, we actually separate our products into two main categories. One is access services, which predominantly you want to drop your traffic flow or drop your data into certain location. For example, if you still in physical data centers, we have ports that you can order through over 930 plus data centers globally, where you can connect your physical routers or switches or servers into Megaport Fabric through those physical ports. Or otherwise, if you want the traffic can be transferred or can be forwarded or routed through the cloud without touching your physical data center equipment, or if you don't currently have a physical data center strategy, we also have access services like a Megaport Cloud Router and the Megaport Virtual Edge for different scenarios, which I can come back to them later. And yeah, those are all access services available. And between those access services and also public cloud provider and some other Megaport services, they're pretty much VXC, virtual cross connection, connecting everything available on the Megaport Fabric. It can be a Megaport Internet Service, which is a pretty new product from Megaport. It can be Megaport RX. And if you don't actually, or maybe instead of connecting to public cloud or internet services, you want to interconnect to Megaport existing partner or customer, you can also use a Megaport Marketplace or service key to establish that more like a private or across customer connection as well. And more details about the product, probably a little bit more about specifications. Megaport now support 1 gig, 10 gig, and 100 gig ports in our data centers. Predominantly, customer now use 10 gig ports. We are retiring a lot of 1 gig ports locations. So moving forward, will be probably just the 10 gig and 100 gig, maybe higher. And if you're interested in which data centers we are in, feel free to jump into the Megaport portal and have a look around our available locations. And there's another link I can open up here, Megaport new location, which basically give customer an update per week, which data centers we are just enabled. You can see that within a month, we probably enabled at least 6 or 5, 6 data centers globally. And another thing, another access service MCR, we have 4 different specs, one from 1 gig all the way through to 10 gig. It depends on your throughput requirement and depends on how many public cloud or X or ports you want to connect into the MCR product. But there's something exciting coming. If you jump into Megaport portal, we have a what's new section. You would notice that we are actually introducing a higher spec large MCR product, starting from 4 metro areas, but will be expand to other locations globally. And the speed tier now from 25 gig all the way to 100 gig, which is really exciting. The last access service, MVE, is basically the same hypervisor platform which we use for MCR product, and the customer can, based on their workload throughput requirement, order different specs like a 2 CPU to 12 CPU. And to these access services, there are some limitations or restrictions as how many VXCs you can connect to each of the access service. For example, port, you can have up to 100 VXCs, and MCR, you can have up to 25, MV, you can have up to 24. And those VXCs can be provisioned to various different destinations. It can be public cloud providers, for example, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud. It can be Megaport IX. It can be also Megaport Internet Service and the marketplace as well. As I mentioned, the marketplace probably more flexible as if you want to advertise your port or MCR or MV to wider Megaport community, Megaport customers and partners, you're more than welcome to do so, and they can just connect to your access service privately through Megaport Fabric. Of course, you can also connect to colo locations where another port ordered. All right, coming back to the MCR scenario, which I'll be do some demo today. It is cloud-based routing instance that provided by Megaport as a turnkey solution. Customer don't need to jump into the router, do any CLI or do any like a command line configuration. Everything can be done just through Megaport portal. It is not like a you call that a consumer level of virtual appliance. It also supports BGP peering and supports some methods to manipulate the routing of, for example, AS pass pending and MED, something like that. And the customer usually leverage MCR for their cloud to cloud routing without bring all the traffic back to their data center, back to their physical router. And that will optimize latency between cloud really well. And some other, I guess, advantage would be um, you can still from the MCR to bring any traffic you want into your data center port or into some other location. It is not restrict the customer only on the MCR. That's the question usually being asked by customers. And there's another probably more complex scenario or more complex use case based on that. If the customer not 100% satisfied with the functionality and the feature sites provided by MCR, we have another option we call that MVE, Megaport Virtual Edge, which, as I mentioned, essentially the same hypervisor platform we use for MCR, but instead of a turnkey solution where a customer limited to certain feature sites, and we allow customer to BYO their virtual appliance and license and management. So essentially, you turn up a virtual machine on Megaport platform, and from there you have access to all the Megaport services. You can interconnect to the public cloud providers, and you can interconnect to your data center ports, and you can also actually interconnect to Megaport internet services. With the different options, for example, router, SD-WAN, firewall, then it allows you to do more in terms of how you want to connect to different destinations. For example, with the SD-WAN appliance, you can actually leverage Megaport internet as overlay to build your as underlay to build your overlay to connect to your existing SD-WAN network, which is easier for you to get probably the whole corporate network connecting to Megaport Fabric for probably public cloud services, things like that. Okay, as I mentioned today, probably as an example and also for the demo, I'll be talk about interconnect public clouds with HA MCR setup. In this diagram, I'm highlighting that I'm going to interconnect Microsoft Azure with Google Cloud with my two HA MCR setup. To save some time, I actually already pre-populated something from the portal. You can see that here's my test MCR in red zone. By the way, we do have red and the blue availability zone in a lot of data centers where a customer can choose to have two instances sitting in different availability zone. So in case of a hardware failure or in case of we want to bring down anything for maintenance, you still have another part of your infrastructure up and running. And with this pair of MCR, I actually established Microsoft Express route to my Azure tenancy already. Here's my Azure console. So you can see I have a virtual network set up here, and I have a gateway provisioned within that virtual network. And by recommendation from the Microsoft Express route documentation, I am setting up a maximum resiliency express route. That means I have two locations where I can establish express route, and within the same location, one location, as default, Microsoft, they will then provide me two MSEE, Microsoft Enterprise Edge devices for me to establish separate BGP sessions. And um, a little bit the tailored version of that, Microsoft call that as a standard resiliency, which means you only have one location where you can establish express route connection, but within the same location, again, by default, Microsoft will provide you two different Microsoft Enterprise Edge devices. You can still establish two separate BGP sessions within that location. It's not mandated, but Microsoft highly recommend all the customer to do that. I mean, in the same location, uh, create two BGP sessions. There's another slightly different version as a in between, but it is only available in certain metro areas, Amsterdam, Singapore, and Rick. Okay, on the Microsoft side, that's it. And on the Google Cloud side, I'm also establishing redundancy connections. As you can see in the diagram, I'm actually having a red and blue zone in each of the locations. And as I have a red cloud router and the blue cloud router, what I'm trying to do is connect all my red cloud connections to my red router and all my blue cloud connections to my blue router. So in case in any for any reasons Megaport need to bring down the red zone or bring down the blue zone for maintenance, I still have another leg of fully functional and not impacted by anything. And for the Google Cloud part, let's just jump into that. This is a 99.9 availability setup, which I will be setting up the partner interconnection and two different locations. And within each location, I'll have one BGP peering from my router to Google Cloud router. There's another enhanced version where you can set up the partner interconnection in two different regions, and you can still have them all talk back to your same VPC for geo-based redundancy, but I'm not going to touch on that today. All right, back to the network diagram as a reference. Let's go back to the Megaport portal. So you can see that I have already established the express route, and from the looking glass of MCR, the cloud router, I can see through the express route, I actually should be able to learn all the routes from the express route. That's my actually VNet IP space 10.10 and 10.11. And that's all actually connected to my Sydney 1 express route. This is the one already connected, and that's my peering information. Back to this service list. Now I'm trying to establish my Sydney 2 express route, which pretty much this part of the network. I'll copy my service key generated by Microsoft when I create the express route, and I'll go back to my router. I'll create a connection from red because I always reckon red is my primary for some reason. Microsoft. I'll paste the service key. You can see Microsoft with one express route service key, Microsoft actually allows two different BGP sessions. And since I'm creating this express route in the right zone, I'm picking this right connection. And also inside this peering, I can have a private and a Microsoft peering. I just need a private one in this case. Click next. I'm giving them a name. C red MCR to Australia East. This is my Sydney 2 express route, and that is my connection A. Right. I don't need to commit any term because this is just a demo. I can cancel that after this session. But if you want to commit a term to get some commercial benefits, you're more than welcome to do so. I'll keep the bandwidth minimum just for demo purposes. See, this is my configuration added into the portal, and I'm not ordering that yet now. I'm just creating another one towards the same Microsoft Edge Express route with the same key. And in this time, as I'm creating this from my blue MCR, so I'll be picking um, one from the blue one. You can see the red one already occupied from my other MCR, so I'm picking the blue one. So in this case, I have my red router talking to my right router. Sorry, my right router talking to my right Microsoft Enterprise Edge, and my blue router talking to my blue Enterprise Edge. Okay, everything looks fine. Let me just click order. And back to the diagram. By doing that, these green ones, green lines, by the way, are the two connections already established before this session, just for example. And these two purple ones are the ones I just ordered here, or order now. And in this case, I have already set up a, as in Microsoft terminology, a maximum resiliency connection from my MCRs to the Microsoft Azure. Now I'm moving on to the Google side, so I can establish inter-cloud connections through my cloud router. So jumping to the Google Cloud Console, I have pre-created a VPC network. If you can see here, that's a same naming convention. That's moving on testing. That's my VPC in the Australia Southeast region. And with that VPC, I can then jump onto network connectivity. Within that VPC, I created a cloud router, which is also in Australia Southeast. And the next step or the final step is, or should be, in the network connectivity interconnection, I then create a VLAN attachment to the cloud router. And I already created two VLAN attachment based on Google's recommendation. See, if you jump into the add VLAN attachment option, we apparently doing a partner interconnection, and I have already have one. So the recommendation from the Google Cloud is if you can create a redundant pair of VLAN attachments, so two VLAN attachment, otherwise you can just do one. And I have done two of them, which is this one. That's my VLAN attachment one. And similar, very similar to Azure, Google also provide a pairing key here. I just copy this pairing key. And again, jump into my red MCR, which I use as a primary. And this time I'm picking a Google Cloud. Paste in the pairing key provided. You can see there are multiple locations available through one pairing key, which is one VLAN attachment. You can pick Sydney, which is in red zone, or Brisbane, which is in red zone, or Melbourne, or another Melbourne, different data centers. In this case, I might just use Sydney red zone as my interconnection location, and click next. So very similar to that, I'll give this connection a name. That's a Sydney red MCR to TCP Sydney red. I just need a 15 meg, it's minimum, and I don't need to commit any term here. Next. One difference between Azure and Google is this pairing key only allow us to establish one connection. So I need to jump into the other one, the VLAN attachment Australia Southeast B, which I'll be using that one for another connection towards my blue cloud router. And still have multiple options. Unfortunately, based on the setup of Google Cloud interconnection, we don't have a blue option in Sydney. So for the same design principle, I'll pick one connection location in red zone. So in this case, I'll place that interconnection into Brisbane. And I'll give this connection a different name. That's still Sydney Blue MCR, but I'll be connecting to Brisbane Blue location, and I'll keep the bandwidth minimum. I'll keep the term, and order that. For Google Cloud partner interconnection, it probably takes about 5 to 10 minutes for the BGP session to establish. But while we're doing the Google Cloud interconnection, you can see the Microsoft Azure, the second pair, actually already up and running now. We had a look at the looking glass before that, that we only see one BGP neighbor uh, routes from one BGP neighbor. But in this case, we can see it should come from two different neighbors because we have both uh, connections established to two different Microsoft Enterprise Edge. And I guess that's pretty much the simple demonstration I was trying to do today, just to show you how quickly you can actually establish a connection towards your preferred public cloud provider through a Megaport cloud router. And as I mentioned, probably in 5 to 10 minutes, the Google Cloud partner interconnection will be up and running, and the Google Cloud and Azure can actually see each other through the Megaport cloud router. And that's how you can easily interconnect to public cloud services and shift your workload between the public clouds or maybe replicate data between them. And yeah, that's all I guess I want to demo today. Just have a look if there is any questions from our audience, because conscious of time. Yeah, seems so fun. Then if there's no questions, I would say that's pretty much everything for today. And thank you very much for joining me today. And next week, same time, we'll have another session for some other interesting stuff or exciting news from Megaport. Please join us at the same time next Friday. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great weekend ahead. Cheers. Thank you. Bye.